Listen, if your funnel is broken, the solution is probably not what you think. I hear from people all the time about their sales funnel, and they make excuses to why their funnel isn't working. And the excuses are endless. In this episode of Legacy Builders with Bryan Dulaney, I want to share with you 3 reasons your funnel probably isn't working.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Legacy Builders. On today's episode, we are going to be diving into the top 3 reasons why your funnel isn't working. The data shows that less than 1% of funnels actually generate over $1 million. And reality is that the percentage is probably a lot less than that, but that's, what we see with the 2 Comma Club Award and different things like that. And so Bryan, on today's episode, I really want to dive into this because I hear so many people that they want to blame the funnel. If only their funnel worked better, or if only their funnel did X or did Y, then, they'd have $1 million business or they'd have an 8-figure business. I'm sure you've heard this and seen this a lot. So help us understand what some of the reasons are why some people's funnels might not be working.
Yeah, absolutely, Seth. So such a great topic because I think so many people think that it's the funnel's fault, right? And I think that's because you've been led to believe that you're one funnel away, right? You've heard this thing, you've heard that statement before, and I would say it's not a funnel problem. It's more of a message and it's more of an offer problem. Now in today's episode, I'm going to get into some real problems to solving that funnel issue, because when you solve these other problems, the funnel issue, solves itself. I mean, I can show you literally funnels that are ugly, funnels that are disjointed, funnels that are sloppy, that do over $1 million a year, some over $10 million a year. And you would look at it and be like, there's no way that funnel generates that type of revenue until you look at their bank accounts. So I always say, you're not one funnel away. That's kind of partially true. I would say first, you're one offer away. That's what I always say. You're one offer away. And then with a great offer, right, then comes a funnel. A funnel is just a way in which you sell your products or services, right? So I like to give this example, right? So take 2 different restaurants. Okay, you've got a really brand new, awesome, experienced restaurant with decent or poor quality food. Okay, so you got like okay food, but the place is immaculate, right? Like the experience is off the chain, crappy food. Okay, so people will come back for the experience, right? Like that's the equivalent of having a funnel that's aesthetically pretty, right? But the message and the copy is disjointed, right? So that's a great funnel design aesthetic with a terrible copy, terrible offer, right? And that's a big problem. On the other side, you could have a dumpy hole in the wall, but has epic food, right? Kind of like when we were living in La Jolla, California, there was this Mexican taco joint down the street. And literally this thing was a hole in the wall, looked like a shed, but there was a line for lunch every day, a block, 2 blocks down the street. So obviously people weren't going there for the aesthetics of the restaurant, right? Because it was a shed, literally. They were going there because the food is awesome, right? So I want you to think about your funnel from that perspective. Like what camp are you in, right? I prefer to have both, right? A great design, a great aesthetic, a great experience, along with really awesome products and services, right? I think you should strive for that. When those 2 come together, that's when we see more campaigns win than lose, right? But just like Seth said, if you calculate, there's over 100,000 users who use ClickFunnels every single day to power their business, right? Why is there less than 1,000 people in the community, that's 1%, that have generated over $1 million in gross revenue? That's not even net revenue, right? So 1%, and then this isn't even considering the hundreds of thousands of people that tried ClickFunnels and then left, right? So we're not even factoring that. I don't even know what that number is. I'd imagine it's north of 1 million people, okay? So why is less than 1% of people who are trying to figure out funnels not figuring it out, right? Well, here's what I'd like you to think about, okay? what is the core message to your market, right? Like, what's the hook or hooks that you're sending out? Okay, so I'll give you some examples. So I have a campaign. It's called Free Golden Ticket, and literally it's where I dress up like Willy Wonka. My wife dresses up like an Oompa Loompa. We cloned my wife to make it fun, but we went all out. Okay, so why we did that is because I thought, my wife thought, really it was my wife's creation because she wrote a thesis paper on the movie. And so we created it to stand out like a sore thumb. Because the reality is when you're advertising on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're advertising, people are scrolling. People are busy. People are in their own worlds, right? You got to stop. You got to command attention. You got to command them to stop and pay attention, right? So part of that campaign's success was, and it's still running, part of that campaign's success is getting people to stop. What the heck is this, right? Okay, you can do that in so many other creative ways outside of dressing up like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, right? Now, the other hook to the message and really the glue to it, because just dressing up like Willy Wonka or dressing up like some theme isn't going to produce the results that you want. You need a good message. You need a good campaign, right? And what that means is, for me, it's like the way that I position it is you can get or download on this USB drive that I give away for free all of my 7 and 8 figure funnels, emails, and scripts, or a select group of funnels, emails, and scripts that we give away for free. Plus, as icing on the cake, we incorporated the theme of Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory, where we have 5 winning ticket holders, right? Who get to spend a day with me, which has a $17,500 value, right? So if you think about that perspective, just take a step back and think about it from 2 perspectives. Number 1, the campaign automatically grips you in your tracks as you're scrolling because it's so different, it's so unique, right? So ask this question to yourself: what makes you better, different, and unique than anyone in your marketplace? It's a vital question that you answer. And then using that answer to get messages into your audience, okay? A lot of people don't think about that question, but I think it's really important to think about it. What makes you better, different, and unique than everybody else in your market? Because that's your uniqueness. That's what you can, put your hat on, if you will. The second part of it is the message. I know my audience wants 7 and 8 figure funnels, but more than funnels, because like funnels would have been easy to give away, right? More than funnels, I give away the emails and the scripts that go with video campaigns that are tied to it, right? So I'm not just giving away a funnel, because a lot of people do that, right? A lot of people give away the funnel without context. No, the way that I created that campaign was to give away the funnels, but also give away the inner workings of those funnels, right? The engine behind the funnels that actually makes it all work, so that it gives the market an understanding on a deeper level of, okay, this is what I need to have in place if I want to generate 7 or 8 figures in my business, right? So having something that they can model. Okay, now for me, worked really well. So another example would be, I have a challenge, and it's a 7-day challenge to figure out how to launch your expertise online. Okay. The core hook behind that is to actually use your expertise and start making money. Because when I started back in 2006, I know it's been forever. When I started back in 2006, it's like 17 years ago, a challenge, a 30-day challenge where I watched a video, took some action, watched the video, took some action. That's actually what got me into this industry of online marketing and internet marketing. Okay. I started as an affiliate, but that's what got me in. So when I created my challenge for the first time ever, I had already been doing challenges for other people. So challenges weren't a new thing, and they aren't a new thing considering we've been doing them since 2006. Let that set in for a second. When you hear the next new expert saying funnels are the newest thing, funnels are the hottest things, let's slice bread, we've been using funnels for a long time, right? So you think about, okay, I'm always thinking about what's the campaign, what's the hook, what's the thing that's going to stop them in their tracks and it's going to make them listen or read. And I think you have to think that way as a marketer, right? For me, it was for the 7-day challenge. It's like start actually making money using your expertise to serve others. Okay. There are millions of people out there that have developed an expertise. We know the self-education industry is growing to $1 billion a day, from 400 million to $1 billion a day, according to Forbes.com. So we know that people have this desire to figure out, hold on, wait a second. I do have expertise. I do have knowledge. I do have results that others want. Maybe I can sell it. Maybe I can monetize it. Maybe I can, build a brand around this, right? And so that's the whole hook, is actually to start making money using your expertise. And so what I want you to begin to think about as I explain some of these examples is just start thinking about yourself and your business and how you're serving your audience. You got to understand that your funnel is just one component, right? You've got to go a little bit higher level than that and think about the bigger picture here. When it comes to advertising and pulling people off the internet, because that's what you're doing, you're stopping people in their tracks and then sending messages that they're either going to resonate with or not, right? Do they resonate with it, or are they bypassing that message? The more they bypass your message, the less likely you're going to be served in that person's feed going forward, right? You think about it from this perspective, from the platform's perspective, they want you clicking on that ad, because that's when they make money. So they want you engaging in ads, right? They want you to create ads that are engaging their audience. Okay. They reward you with lower costs and so forth. Okay. Here's another example. I like to give some examples here so you guys have a different perspective on this, because I really do think that a lot of people think it's like the funnel and they just want, Bryan, tell me the funnel that I need to work to make me $1 million. And the reality is it's more than that. And I hope you can pick that up by now. This next example is, if I was to give away, think about this. So, I was a top affiliate for Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi 2 years in a row. Number 5 the first year, and number 4 the second year, beating out literally top influencers who have 100 times larger audiences than I do. How did I do that? Well, I did that through really good marketing and advertising and having a great offer to support Tony and Dean's product. Okay. So what would I give away? Well, knowing my audience, I already know that they would want to have those campaigns, right? To be able to see under the hood of the ads, multiple platforms, the emails, the videos, scripts, and the videos that we produced, right? The offer that we presented, right? All of those things are a factor, right? So when you look at it from a high level, you're not just looking at, it's the funnel, right? Typically the funnel is a simple process. It's maybe a couple steps, right? But beyond that, you've got the copy, you've got the message, you've got the aesthetic, which is the user experience, and then you got the offer. And if your offer is not excellent and not irresistible, then people are just going to turn away. Okay. So the question becomes, what message are you sending to your market? I want you to really think about that. Like, what's the consistent message that you're putting out there, whether that's through advertising or whether that's free by just posting on social media? Reality is that you're right now putting out a message, and you're either not putting out a message or you're putting out a message. And I would advise you to review those messages that you're sending out, because you're sending out value. Hopefully you're sending out value, because that's the secret to success, is actually earning the right to make an offer, right? By sending out value in advance of making an offer, right? Of offering something for sale.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And, we spend so much time thinking about, split testing, or what colors should these be? And, what text should we have on our buttons? And those things are valuable. But I think zooming out and looking at a high level and realizing it's not a funnel problem, it's a message and offer problem. So the other aspect, and kind of the next aspect of this, is if we don't know what our perfect customer wants, then we're never going to be able to create a funnel that delivers to them. So tell me more about this second big reason that you see a lot of funnels not working.
Yeah, so I think it's a deep understanding of what does your actual customer or perfect customer, what is their desired outcomes, right? What are their desires? What do they want, right? If you can figure that out, best way to do it is to ask them. What I found in my business is that entrepreneurs and experts that we serve, they want a 7 or 8 figure funnel. And people are at different levels of that, right? I've got people that come in all the time. They're like, yeah, I want to build an 8-figure business. Other people are like, I want to build a 7-figure business, right? And then eventually I'll build an 8-figure business, which is totally fine. It's right. It's 2 different lanes of thought, but I know that my perfect audience, my perfect customer, they want a 7-figure business. Like anything less than that doesn't suffice, right? So I would ask you to consider, what is the result that you can back, okay? And what is the result that your customers want? So first you got to start by saying, asking your customers or asking people that you serve, what is it that they truly want? And then finding a way to deliver that value, right? And then I think another important question to ask is, how are you demonstrating confidence in delivering the result, right? And I would say you need to do it everywhere, okay? So I do it in my webinars, my challenges, my courses, my lead magnets, my podcast, right? Everywhere that I go, I showcase campaigns that produce 7 and 8 figures, because I know that my audience wants that outcome, right? What I call that is a mountain of evidence. So people are looking at you as being able to solve their problems and provide solutions to where they want to go in life, whether that's in business, relationships, health, whatever category you're in. They're looking for that mountain of evidence. So number one, if you don't have it, go get it. Okay. You can go get it by selecting 10 people and helping those 10 people to go produce those results. Typically, that's what I like to see. Like when I launch an expert online, I always look for 2 primary things, 3 in total. I'll tell you what the third one is in a minute. One is, do you have results that others want, right? So do you have the proof that in your life you have results that other people want, that are your perfect customers? Number 2 is, have you helped a few other people also produce those results, right? If you don't have a handful of people that you've helped to produce similar, like, or better results, then I would encourage you, go get them, because it makes selling a lot easier. Okay. Without those, selling is going to be an uphill battle. Okay. You will get to a place. Okay. And I've gone through this journey myself. So you will get to a place when you have that mountain of evidence to point to. You can say, yep, I've done it here. Yep, I've done it here. Yep, I've done it here. Yep, I've done it here again. Yep, I've done it here. You can point to all different types of people. You can type to men, you can type to women, you can type to young, you can type to old. So you can point to all different types of situations. So your audience looking at that, and they're identifying with, oh, so-and-so's like me. I bet that he can help me too. Or I bet that she can help me too, right? The question becomes, can you produce a mountain of evidence? Okay. The more results you have, the better and more easier it becomes to sell. So one quick tactic, strategy, whatever you want to call it, to improving your funnel would be to showcase that mountain of evidence and have that supported in the sales process of your funnel, because the funnel is doing the job of selling for you if you have a well-designed and well-built and well-written sales funnel. Because at the end of the day, it really boils down to the copy, the images, which is the aesthetic and the user experience of the funnel that's going to determine how well it converts or not, right? Again, most importantly, it's going to be the copy and then aesthetics, right? Because your copy is what's going to pull them into the conversation. The copy is going to keep them going further and deeper into the conversation. And the aesthetic is just going to be keeping the user experience pleasant so that you're not disjointed or all over the place or distracted, which some designs and aesthetics can do, right? The third thing I would say is, what problems are you solving? Okay. I always encourage my customers, my audience, to make a list. Make a list of the top 10 problems that your audience faces. So let's give you an example for a second and talk about challenges, for example. So let's say that I was to address people who want to do challenges. And I already know, because I've been doing it long enough, what those problems are. So some of them are tech challenges. Can't figure out what all the integrations. Another problem might be no signups or high acquisition costs, right? Cost too much to get to get leads to sign up for the challenge. Or no show-ups. It's a whole nother problem. It's an attendance problem. Or no sales, no conversions, or low sales, right? So those are all of the big problems, right? A great way to earn the right to make an offer. I think a lot of people, they build a funnel and then they push the funnel out and then something doesn't work. I think the first thing you've got to start looking at is, how are you adding value in advance of them getting to the funnel? I think it's a very important question to ask. How are you adding the value? How are you earning the right to make an offer? A lot of people want to put up a sales page, an offer, and they want to just start selling stuff. And that's great. That sounds fantastic, right? But how are you adding value, building trust before people get to the sales process? I consult on this a lot because we have tons of clients across the spectrum in all different types of verticals, starting from different places. One of the big things that I'm consistently going back to is how are you providing value before they get to the point of sale or conversion, right? Or seeing your offer. I encourage, create content out of problems and solutions, meaning you take a top 10 problems, you take each problem and you break that down into a few different solutions to solve those problems, where the audience can actually go do those actions and actually see results. And then they're going to come back and be like, hold on a second. He or she, you have helped me. What else do you have, right? Like, your advice worked. What else? What other kind of advice do you have? Right. So now they're connected to you in a deeper way because you told them something that works, right? Think about it. Think about in your life, someone who's given you advice that when you put it into play, produced a significant outcome for you, right? You're more deeply connected to that person. Okay. The same goes true with adding value, earning the right to make an offer online. We do it through content. It's real simple. The best is a video, because people can see you, people can hear you, people can read your body language. People can see if you're confident or not. People can see if you care or not. People can just read your body language. 70% of communication is coming from our body, not our words. So that's another thing that you should be looking at. I think what's important to note here is it's not about the funnel. Okay. There's elements of the funnel that are important, right? But there are all these other glaring problems that if you don't have them solved, you've got to look at those first, right? Like, how are you building an audience? How are you adding value? How are you earning the right to make an offer? I think you've got to have a plan for that. You've got to have an answer for that. A lot of people don't want to put in that work. They don't want to do what it takes to add value for free in exchange for building a relationship. And I would say that's very, very short-sighted. Okay. I would encourage you to get into the mindset of planting seeds, right? This is a biblical principle, right? If you plant seeds, you water those seeds, you nurture those seeds, eventually they'll become plants that produce fruit. The same thing applies to marketing online and applies to funnels, right? You've got to apply the same mindset. So planting seeds in our world means producing value, producing content, pushing that information into the feeds of your audience. Think about it from this way. If you're solving the problems of your audience and you serve up an ad that hits your audience right over the head, metaphorically speaking, right? They have that problem. You speak that problem and it resonates with them. They then listen to the solutions you provide. They take action on those solutions, and then they actually produce something that's a result. They are much more likely to buy from you. They're much more likely to listen to you. They're much more likely to be on the journey with you in the years to come, right? And then the other thing to consider is that when you're planting seeds, guys, listen, some seeds are not going to sprout and grow instantly. Like, look at the bamboo plant, right? It takes like 7 years underground before it busts out of the soil and becomes the bamboo plant that then, shoots to the sky like a rocket. If you're not in the game long enough to reap the rewards of your planting and sowing, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I see this a lot, right? People get started, they launch something, and then they go back in their, cower and go back into their hole thinking, oh, it didn't work. I need instant results. And the reality is that part of this game of online marketing and generating leads and selling stuff on the internet really boils down to, do you have a bigger vision that's not needing to be an insert of cash tomorrow, right? And I think that's a really important thing to talk about because a lot of people have that mindset. So get away from that mindset. I have campaigns that literally I've launched over 5 years ago that are still bringing in high ticket clients to this day. I still have people. I filled up my mastermind practically with $25,000. It was a $25,000 mastermind at the time, and filled it up from one product that I gave away for free plus shipping years and years and years ago, right? So how are you planting seeds for harvesting in the future? And then are you around long enough to actually reap the harvest? Because a lot of people aren't. They switch to a new shiny object and they move on, and they totally miss the harvest season. Okay, so understanding seasons is super important. Again, it's not just about the funnel, and I hope I communicated that today. It's not just about the funnel. So the summary today would be this: what is your campaign hook? Like, what's the thing that's going to hit them, right? If you look at, Trump's campaign, Make America Great Again, which I love. I think majority of the country and many countries in the world love that campaign too. Just look at his support. Look at how many people show up in a stadium and fill it, right? No other person in history that I know of has been able to put 80,000 people into a stadium. He's got a really great campaign. So I want you to start thinking about your funnel as, what is my campaign? What is my slogan? What is my hooks that I'm sending out into the marketplace that's getting the attention of your audience? Okay. If you're not stopping people in their tracks, they're not paying attention. If they're not paying attention, they'll never get to your offer. So your funnel doesn't even matter at that point. Okay. Number 2, a great funnel is supported first and foremost with a great offer or set of offers. Okay. And so that's the other thing to consider. You can have an awesome looking funnel with a crappy offer and you're not going to sell anything either. So fixing your aesthetics is not the end all be all solution, right? The aesthetics and the copy, the message is what needs to be connected. And when they're connected, what we see is campaigns win. Campaigns are able to produce 7 figures. Campaigns are able to produce 8 figures. But it's also not always about, and we'll end with this, it's not always about the front end product that you're selling. Okay. So if you look at all of the companies that have been able to do over 8 figures, meaning over 10 million in revenue through ClickFunnels, particularly, there's less than 100 of us. There's less than 100 of us that have done over 10 million. There's less than 30 of us that have done over 25 million. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know it's under those numbers. So if you look at all those and you look at what are the common traits, okay, well, a big common trait is that the front end and the back end play and work together, meaning you have ways that you serve your audience for free and add value, whether that's a podcast, whether that's a show, whether that's YouTube, whether that's Facebook, whether that's Instagram, whether that's webinars, challenges, whatever it might be. They all have some mechanism in which they add value to their marketplace so that they can build trust, so that they can add value, so they can earn the right to make an offer. What's also present in those businesses is that they also have high ticket offers along with mid and low ticket programs, or a combination of those. So they have low ticket and high ticket, or low ticket, mid ticket, and high ticket. What you won't see, very common, is only low ticket offers in that category. Now, you can see it, and then it just becomes a volume game, right? But the margins are lower. I don't know about you, but I like high volumes over, I like high profit over high volume, right? Because high volume is less profit, right? You got to sell more stuff. It's kind of like selling supplements. You got to sell a ton of it to make any money. And the reality is you probably are not going to make that great of an income unless you sell the company. Okay. Or do an ESOP and give ownership to people that are running the organization and you pull out cash, kind of like Tony Robbins did with his company. So again, you're one offer away. And then you're one funnel away. So you've got to really nail this offer. You got to really nail the message that leads them to the offer. And then you have to nail before that, you have to nail how are you actually presenting value to an audience to build trust, to build awareness, to build connectedness to you, and then to then get to a place where you've earned the right to make an offer. And that's why webinars and challenges are great things to be doing in your business as an expert for free, because you've got time to build rapport and relationship and trust, right? I love challenges. I have 7 days. I have 7 hours with people where I can showcase value. I can help people move forward and produce results in advance of me making an offer, right? I also like webinars. Webinars are not, typically 60 to 90 minutes. It still gives me the framework to be able to add value. I just don't have as much time as a challenge. So what I see in my business across the board is that webinars are great. They still work very effectively. Challenges are more effective because they have more time to add value. Does that make sense? So the more time that you have to add value to someone else's life, the more likely they are to buy from you. That's why it's super important, once you figure out what it is that you're selling and how you're serving your audience, to get into the habit of dedicating a day or two to producing content, to producing value for others for free, kind of like we're doing here with the podcast. This is an activity that you should be doing if you want to, really be successful in the industry of self-education. If you really want to be successful in the knowledge business, meaning turning your knowledge into a business that serves others, that can lead to a ton of different products and services that you might sell.
Right. I think this is huge because, again, it's easy to blame the funnel. It's easy to look and realize, oh, my business isn't growing. Like something's wrong with the funnel, or something's wrong with, this detail or this detail. When in reality, a lot of entrepreneurs probably need to take a step back, and we need to be asking questions about what our offer is. Like you said, kind of looking at what's the message in the offer? Secondly, are we clear on what our perfect customer wants? And then, lastly, like being clear about what problems are we solving? So, Bryan, this has been really valuable. Any last words that you want to say to your audience who might just be struggling in regards to my funnel feels broken?
Yeah, I would say, it's not about what or how. I think a lot of people in this industry, they want to find out, okay, what's the problem? How do I fix it? And so they go with that mindset into studying and learning. I think it's great, but it's not always about what and how, right? There's tons of tactics and strategies to build 7 and 8 figure businesses. In most cases, it's about who's in your corner giving you the strategic advice and feedback that you need to make the adjustments. Because sometimes it's just simple tweaks and adjustments, right? Small hinges move big doors. Sometimes it's those small hinges that need to be adjusted in order to produce a windfall of results, right? So I would encourage you, if you've had a funnel that's not worked as successfully as you'd thought it had, or as successfully as you'd wanted it to have, I would encourage you to seek counsel, right? Seeking counsel and seek multiple advisors, right? That's a biblical concept as well. So seek people who have the results you want and get their feedback on it, because sometimes it's only a few different tweaks. Sometimes it's a complete rehaul. So I think it's circumstantial. I can't just blanket say, just do this, but I think you'll put yourself in a much better position if you can get the right mind on your overall strategy and your funnel.
Love it. This has been great. And thank you so much for sharing from your experiences and the times you've implemented this, Bryan. And to our audience, we'll see you next time on Legacy Builders. And we hope this has been valuable for you.
Thank you for joining me on Legacy Builders. And I would encourage you to come back to the next episode next week to get more clarity on your journey to launch your expertise online, scale your impact, and build your legacy. If you're ready to get the process started of launching your expertise online the right way, then I recommend go to launchexpertise.com, or maybe you're at a place where you're ready to really scale your expertise and your impact. Go to launchexpertise.com. There you'll have several options. Number one, you can get a free copy of my brand new book, The Entrepreneur Evangelist, which I share the secrets that have unlocked more than $300 million of results for my clients, my partners, and our own campaigns. You could also join a 33 days of coaching with me that's free, where I give you insights and wisdom on your journey to launching your expertise and scaling your impact over the course of 33 days. And that's worth at least $5,000, but for right now, you can get it for free. And lastly, if you're someone who wants to take the absolute faster, smarter path when it comes to launching your expertise online and scaling your impact, I'd recommend scheduling a call with my team where we can see how we can support you to crush goals and generate 7 or 8 figures yourself in a short period of time. We have more awards than nearly anyone in the entire community, and for good reason. And we would love to help you just like we've helped them. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Legacy Builders.